You know, sometimes a friend recommends an anime that just isn't that great. It's not necessarily your cup of tea. You respect them for liking it, but just wasn't something that you enjoyed. And sometimes you just gotta kind of break that bad news to them. Uh, Today is not one of those times. Thank you so much, J Chip from the J Chip Show, for recommending me Fruits Basket 2019. That's what we're going to be talking about tonight. Um, I'm really late to the party on this. I never saw the original series from I think 2001. I haven't read any of the manga or anything, and I didn't watch this 2019 anime until started a little while ago. Um, and it did take me forever to watch, but we'll get to that in a moment. This is something that was highly recommended to me by my good friend J Chip from the J Chip Show, who has an awesome YouTube channel himself. We've done a whole bunch of podcasts and videos and stuff together. I'm going to link his channel down below in the description. This is his, I believe, like his favorite anime. If not, I think it's like up there with Yu Yu Hakusho. I think I have that ordered right. I do know the main character Tooru Honda is his like favorite lead of all time, and I can sort of see why. This is a really good anime. Um, there is some stuff I kind of nitpicked and wasn't super into about it, but let's delve right into it. If you know nothing about Fruits Basket, basically, without spoiling too much, you have this awesome young girl named Toru Honda who who is orphaned basically at this point. Her mom passes away, and she goes to live with her grandfather, I believe, but he gets to have like renovations at his house. There really isn't a whole lot of like space for her, and the rest of her family isn't. There isn't really anybody to like kind of take her in. And at the same time, she doesn't really want to be a burden on anybody, so she opts to basically go and live in a tent, and then just walk to school and stuff every day. Basically, living like a homeless person, willingly, um, which was pretty interesting to see. Like in that first episode, it's something that I'm sure definitely happens in the real world, um, and this show, the one thing that it really does well is it hits you in the feels at times, and then it uplifts you. It kind of does that over and over again, uh, and that like even in that first episode, you see like this like teenage girl, I think like 16 or so, is basically homeless and just lost her mom, and fortunately enough for her, she befriends uh, members of the Soma family, like the Soma like clan, who are, um, I think it's 12 of them, are possessed by spirits of the zodiac, like the animals of the zodiac, like 12 different ones, and then there's the cat. I think is the extra one. So I guess there's 13. Um, but there's like a mouse, there's like a rabbit, there's a dog, there's a tiger, I think. Um, and To be possessed by these things is this super secretive thing that they don't really let most of society find out. Toru kind of whimsically accidentally finds out their big family secret. They actually have the ability to remove people's like memories and stuff, to alter their memories and stuff, so that way they can, if they need to, sort of keep this secret like under wraps. If they are embraced by a member of the opposite sex, they uncontrollably turn into said whatever animal is possessing them. So whether you turn into a cat, you turn into a mouse, you turn into a dog, you turn into a snake, whatever, you just poof, and you're a snake for some amount of time, and then you poof back into being a human, and you're completely naked. Was this joke that they do a few times, because there's just naked dudes popping up in front of poor Toru here. Um, uh, and the main, we meet a whole lot of characters in this anime. One thing that I really really like about it. The two main guys, I guess that you could say that this show like sort of has the sort of like character battle that you have going on here, is between Yuki, the boy with the gray hair right there, who is the mouse or the rat, uh, and then you have Kyo, who is the cat. Now there is this whole backstory of how the cat is like sort of like left out of the main Zodiac sort of family for reasons according to like legend and stuff like that. He was deceived by the rat, I believe. So long story short, they don't get along. These guys hate each other. They want to like fight each. Kyo really wants to like fight Yuki all the time. Yuki is this, and they're like polar opposites of people. Like Yuki is like the prince of his high school. He's the guy that all the girls love. Kind of hard for him, of course, because he can't ever really even like hug a girl without them finding out like his big secret. So he has to keep himself sort of at this distance. I was about to say at this social distance. That would have been a timely joke that no one would have laughed at. But Kyo is he's the spirit of the cat, and he's really rough around the edges. He's had this really interesting upbringing, and sort of being like the outcast of this family, of this clan, because the family is like this huge like branching thing. Like they all refer to each other like they refer to each other like as cousins. But the way that I'm imagining it and what I've like read about this is that like while they say cousins, it could be like very removed cousins, because if you think about it, this is like a big clan that's existed for like a really long time, I imagine. And some of them don't live like really near each other. Some of them haven't even like spoken to one another. There's like a main core family, and then there's like people that are on like the outside. So, uh, but yeah, so there's, and then we meet a whole bunch of different like members of the Zodiac. I don't want to spoil like too much in this, but just like when I knew a little bit about that going into this. Jay Chip had explained some of the show to me. One thing I was worried about is that it would throw too many characters at me without all of them necessarily being super interesting. And while there are some characters in this anime that didn't get nearly as much screen time and aren't as interesting, the ones that you go into, and then some of them that there's ones that you go into like a lot, like Yuki and Kyo, and then there's other ones that you get just like sort of like a touch of, like some of Tooru's friends from her school and stuff like that, and some individual members of the Zodiac as well, that you really really enjoy spending time with them. And the show does a very good job of warming you up to these characters, getting you somewhat attached, showing some backstory to them, introducing their sort of ideals and their outlooks on things. And I really like that a lot. It has a lot of like very well-rounded characters. Not every like some of them meet like sort of like an anime sort of stereotype, and that's kind of like the joke of it. And I like how polar opposite you have Kyo and Yuki and stuff like that. But everybody in this anime is really, for the most part, held together by the greatness that is Tooru Honda. And she just is like one of the most likable anime protagonists I've ever seen. She really is like goodness incarnate. She's had some tragic stuff happen to her. Her mom killed in this accident and stuff like that. But she always tries to look on like the bright side of things, and she's almost always positive and trying to help people. And she sees that there's, with all the people in the Soma family, they all have some kind of like hang up, whether it's like a tragic past or just an inability to sort of communicate with people, or just some sort of like interpersonal flaw that she's like the outsider that can sort of like step into this world and try and fix the problems within it while still keeping it secret, and kind of showing them that they don't need to necessarily be like fearful of people from the outside, stuff like that, and how bonds between people are important. And she really is like goodness incarnate. J Chip, I completely see why this is like one of your favorite anime characters ever. She is really awesome. She's very uplifting when she's on the screen. There's a lot of drama in this series for sure. It's why I don't necessarily know if it's for everyone. Like it's not like this action shonen type show. It is a lot of drama here, but she makes it like kind of all better. And she's not like she's interestingly not perfect, if that makes sense. She's goodness incarnate for sure, but she does have like self doubts. She does have moments where she ponders to herself, how is she really going to help members of this family, while at the same time not giving up on it. And she has really strong perseverance, and she's just an awesome character. Other stuff that I really liked is like even the side story characters, like I mentioned, like there's like the last like 5 episodes or so of this show, they spend a lot of time like with characters that you might not think that they would. Like some of like it showcases how Tooru sort of became friends with certain people. Um, One of my favorite ones was Saki, I believe her name is. She has this really interesting. I think it's episode 22, where it just goes into her like really sad backstory, and she's not even in the Soma family, by the way. Um, just she's Toru's other friend from school. She also has this another friend that gets backstory as well. That's also very very interesting. But Saki really stood out to me as this character that definitely could have had her like own show and had interesting development in this that like one episode that was very very interesting. And you see why this character acts a certain way, explains how they became friends with the main character of the like anime overall. And I don't know, I like that. I like when a side character has enough to them to warrant like you could like sit back and say like, oh well, this character would have an interesting anime about them just themselves. I like that kind of stuff. But it's just it's at the same time it's almost like I kind of wish sometimes the show was a little more focused at times. Like it's a good thing that we spent time with like these other characters, but there is a lot of like unknowns in it. Like they do introduce this like antagonist, the like leader of the family. I don't want to spoil like too much, but we don't know a lot about this person. We know like her connection to people's like past and like the like again tragic background of some of these characters and how they're all sort of like woven together in this family. But we don't really know a lot about her or really the structure of the Somas themselves. Like I don't really get like what they do in society. Like they all have like they have like real world jobs and stuff like that, but they do have this like they seem to have a lot of money and these like big estates and a lot of like connection and stuff like that. And it'd be interesting to see like how that was like established and what do they do? Like are they like tied into like government? Are they like are they connected just like to like old royalty or something? But and this antagonist did seem really really cool. I know a lot of this could be alleviated. I know that there's a season 2 currently airing. Have not seen that. Again, this is only on season 1. But I'd really want to see more about the family in future seasons. It did have solid animation. I like it a lot in this one. Definitely like this more than the pictures that I've seen of the 2001 version. The OPs were okay in my opinion. I like the second one a little bit more, but neither of them really stood out to me. none of the music really the music doesn't like offend me, but it's kind of like like it's kind of just like drama backgroundy kind of music. I'm more invested in an anime like this. I'm far more invested in the dialogue and in the characters themselves. None of the music really stood out to me in a big way. That's not saying that it's bad. I'm not. I don't mean to say that the music in here could be very good. It just wasn't super noticeable in my opinion. But it did look good. The biggest thing that I think might hold people back in this one is Tooru herself. Now, what I mean by this is that she is goodness incarnate. She is this beacon of hope in this anime. She is a strong person who is really just out there to help everybody. But she's like really freaking goody perfect. And I think that maybe goody perfect isn't the best thing to say. She's so good. It's like she's like so sweet that she's like candy that's too sweet or something like that. Excuse me. She's just like a little too much at times, like almost like too innocent. Where it seemed like, and I get it, she's an anime character, but I'm sort of playing devil's advocate here as to why people might not like this. Because early on it sort of bothered me, but then as we get toward like the middle of the anime, and then like I said, those like last like 5 episodes of this anime, I really fell in love with this character. She's really awesome. Early on, she just seemed just like every sort of situation was just solved by her just outlook and attitude on things. And it's kind of like, well, why didn't these characters sort of like they couldn't have gotten to those to seeing things with that viewpoint on their own? Like they really needed this like stranger girl just to come in who was just nice. It's just a person being nice and not trying not to let things really hold them down. Later on, you do see, like I said, she does have internal doubt. She does question her ability to do things. She does go through struggle later on, and she has gone through a lot in her life for sure. And she's commendable for getting over things and trying to, and not only that, but aiding people in trying to like recover themselves and trying to sort of move on from things, because we all deal with hardship, we all deal with pain. We have to sort of realize what in our lives we can control versus what we can't. And I think she needs to teach these lessons to members of the Soma family who are sort of in this situation, you know, for a lot of them like unwillingly, of course, because you don't really get to control what your family is. And there's a lot of like hardship in being part of the Zodiac clan. And there's a lot of hardship that everyday people don't get to experience, but there are hardships that everyone as humans goes through. And sometimes I feel like that sort of like personal connection, just having someone to listen to you and having somebody to sort of bounce ideas off of and having someone to actually show that they care is huge. And Tooru really does that for a lot of these characters. But, maybe she's like maybe she could be perceived as just being like too precious. I guess I could see that. This anime is definitely also not for like if you're just looking for something like actiony or something like that. If you're somebody that just watches like DBZ or something, this might not be necessarily for you. That's the only thing that's really holding me back from saying that this is a definite like go buy it now anime. I would say that everyone should at least stream this somewhere. And then after that, decide if you want to buy it. Personally, I would like to purchase this when I can. Season 2 is currently airing. I'd kind of like to, if possible, get it all in one go. And then because this is one that I think I would like to rewatch like in a long time when I've sort of maybe forgotten about some of the characters, and then I'd like to sort of have that like refreshed in my mind. Something similar to like Full Metal Alchemist, which has like a lot of characters to it, and then when you watch it again, you get that like appreciation for this big cast of characters that they're throwing at you. So overall, this is a really really good anime. It exceeded my expectations for sure. I looked at this going in like I thought it was this like feelsy sort of like slow anime that I would not like. While I don't think I would ever really like binge this series, because it is kind of the same mood over and over again, and then just kind of like it brings you down and then it brings you up. It's kind of like a roller coaster that I can't sit on for that long. Not that it's a bad experience, this is just a personal thing. I can't really binge this show, but I highly recommend that you check out Fruits Basket. Thank you so much, J Chip, for recommending me this. Because honestly, I don't think I would have checked it out without your recommendation, which is sad. So yeah, listen to your friends out there. They sometimes know about some really good shows that you might not check out yourself. If you've seen Fruits Basket, let me know what you think down below. Try not to spoil anything for me. I haven't seen anything in season 2. I haven't read any of the manga. Yeah, but if you like what I'm doing here, please consider hitting that subscribe button, the bell notification, and all that, so that way you know when I upload videos. I do have a Patreon as well if you are interested in that. Thank you to everybody on Patreon that supports me. Yeah, but thank you so much for watching, guys. My name is Miasma, and I'll see you next time.